Okay.
Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. So, yeah, once again, everyone, good evening. My name is Yemi Ayola, and I will be taking your web and mobile manual testing workshop. Well, I know predominantly most of you would have been hearing about web, mobile. They're predominantly the same way. So we'll just go quickly into it. So what I intend to do tonight, these are the topics I want to cover. I'll talk about what web testing is, inclusive of it in there. You're going to know what mobile testing is too. They work hand in hand. They're same thing. So the next thing I'll tell you how to test a web application or a website. Then I'll take you back to test case design technique. We'll do it as a workshop. You will have the opportunity for Q&A any moment, anytime. So any question you've got predominantly on manual testing, we are here today to help each other. So let us start the class. So what is a web testing? Or how do we test it? You've been hearing about web. I'm sure most of you have been wondering, this manual testing they've been talking about, what it is, what's it all about? How are things done? What are the expectations? They've been talking about web application, software, severally. How is this done? Well, I can tell you today that how a website testing is done in various forms, manually, automatedly. Also, you can use tools. It depends on what organization you're working on, and it depends on what is expected when it comes to the role and how you are going to test it. But I'll tell you, anything you learn today is a form that you use in testing web application generally. So your thinking will be guided towards it. So what is web testing, or what is website testing? Web is just the short form of website. Website testing is checking your web application or website for potential bugs before it is made live. Live as in for people, before people can access it, before people, the public. Who are the people? Public, you and I, every one of us, before it's made aware. We want to find potential bugs. Testing a web application, you might have a one-page web application and you think there are no bugs there. There might be thousands of bugs on just one page application or a website. Website testing checks for various things. It checks for the functionality, it checks the usability, it checks the security, it checks the compatibility, it checks the performance of the web application or the website. So these are the things you should have at the back of your mind when anytime when you're going to an organization or you're going for an interview and the project that they are going to work on, any website, things that you will focus on are the functionalities, the usability, security, compatibility, performance. I'm going to take this as we go on. So we'll take each of these features previously, all these checks that you're meant to do. We are going to take it now one after the other. So start how to test the web application. The first one we are talking about here is going to be functionality testing. So we want to take the functions. What does it entail when you want to test the function of an application? Don't worry, this is the theory part that I'm just trying to bring our brain together so that we can scratch it from the beginning. Then we can now go practical I'm going to start it, then we'll look at it, we'll test different websites and can play with things. So the functionality is a process that includes several testing parameters, like you using the UI, that's the user interface, APIs, application program interface, database testing, talk about security testing, client and server testing, and basic website functionality. Talk about the search, the submit, the login. All these things are the things that we look at when it comes to the functional part of a website. It involves various things that I've mentioned now. And I'll tell you how these things, you will see it practically, how it comes together. Functional testing is very convenient and it allows users to perform both manual and automated testing. So it's also easy to automate a web application, but manually, it is very easy to do it. You can explore a system. As long as you are using a social media, what you are doing predominantly is you are exploring a website. You are exploring a particular website. You weren't taught how to use WhatsApp. It's just for you to go in there and do it. Facebook, other application, even no matter the website. That's it. That's the same way we are bringing it into this web application. It's a general principle. If you know one, you can do many of them. So it is performed to test the functionalities of each feature on the website. So what are the things we concentrate on? Let's take the first one. I'll talk about web-based testing activities, which includes testing all links in a web page. So when you are, the first thing, when you're given a website to test, as long as you've been told as a tester that this website is ready to be tested, things that fail most of the time, quickly, easily, for you to catch bug, start going on all the links. You'll see some links does not take you. If you have any social media link, e.g., that's examples are Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, any image there. When you click on Facebook, it should lead you to Facebook. It shouldn't lead you to Twitter. When you click on Twitter, it should open the Twitter page, correct page. When you click WhatsApp, it should take you to the exact page. So links are the things that are kind of key when it comes to it. So if you go to the footer, that's the down part of that website, all the links there should work in accordance to whatever they have. If they say it's community, it should open a community page where the header will match what is on the footer. The naming convention should be same thing. It should work the same way. So those are places you can easily find bug. So whenever you're given a web application, your first target should be all these kind of things. So test all links in your web page if they're working correctly and make sure there is no broken link. Links could include your outgoing links, internal links, it could be anchor links, and last of it may be a mail to link. So your mailbox, if there's an email, check that when you click on the link, it takes you directly to the email. That's one form. Then the next thing we can talk about is testing all the forms are expected. So how do you test form? So your scripts, maybe the scripts that you have, should check on the form that they are working as expected. What are the examples? For example, if you have a form, maybe like in the form, you've opened it, you are meant to enter your name, first name, and I put 1, 2, 3, 4 as my first name. If it's a mandatory field, if it's not a field that accepts all numbers, then it should give me something like a message. It should give me an error message. The mandatory fields should be well designed so that people can see it. They would understand. Anything on the web page should give the user, any error should be related so that when users see it, they will know that this is what I'm doing wrongly. It's just like you are entering a name and I put 1, 2, 3, 4. The field is not red. There is no message to tell me that it is wrong. I will keep on walking. If I get to the end and it throws me and it doesn't let me sign in and it doesn't tell me any error, how do I go further than that? I can't go and meet anyone. It is a web application. It is live. So how do you want to relate to people? They won't come to your office to say, I'm using your web application. No, they would rather go to another place where they are going to see the same format that will give them the right page. So if you don't do yours well, they will get other competitors outside. So that's why testing is kind of paramount here. So what means is that every phase, every level, there should be messages to inform the user, to inform you and I. Don't forget, you as a tester, you are actually representing the users outside before it goes public. So anyhow you feel when you're using a website, put the same passion into it when you're testing it. Check the default values are being populated. Check once submitted that the data in the forms is submitted to live data and is linked to any working email. Any instructions stated, please ensure they are linked, they are correctly validated. Forms are optimally and formatted for better readability. Then the next thing we check again. Don't forget, the first thing I said is that we are looking at the functionality of the website. So the next thing I started is that I stated what those functionalities are, what it entails. I gave example of what we are using, the UI, user interface, the APIs, the client server, the performance. So all those things are what I'm now explaining to you in bits and pieces for you to know what to check exactly when you're testing a website. I've talked about the links. I've talked about the form. Now I'm talking about cookies. We all know cookies. That cookie that you see that is kind of displayed, that small pop-up that will just come up to say accept or decline. It should work as expected. So if you click accept, it comes up. If you click decline, whatever is expected. Now, I'm sure in your mind, you'll be asking me, how will I know what is expected? Correct. For you to know what is expected, that is why we've got our user stories, we've got our requirements. So when you are testing a website, these are questions that you can ask. Are we going to have cookies? Yes. What is our expectation for? There should be defined scenarios for accept, decline. What are the expectations? You will be given those. If you're not, you can actually put it through to say accept, decline. What is going to happen? You are the one testing. That's your expectation. The way you are thinking is the way we users out there, users like you and I out there, are going to think. So we have to think for them too before it's live. I can tell you that the way you're feeling is the way others too are. So cookies are small files used by website to primarily remember the active user session. So you do not need to log in every time you visit the website. So testing cookie sessions are deleted either when cache is cleared or when they reach their expiry. So it's just checking. You can go to your cache with that 3 buttons by the 3 dots by the very end of your this thing here. Click on it, look at the setting, you'll see browser history, you see the cache there, you can clear that. You delete the cookie, that's the session. So you can delete all the credentials. And when you delete all the credentials, when you want to log in again, The credential should never be remembered. It should ask you to enter a new credentials. The next one is to check the HTML and the CSS. These are just like you checking that, or every error, syntax error, maybe you've got various errors coming in. You can have your normal internal server error, your normal 404 not found, any error. We want the message communicated. That's what we are testing. We want to see those message, readable color schema. So testing the color, looking at what the requirement says, doing all those checks are things that you should look for in a website. The content, the text, how is it? Is the spellings correct? All those nitty-gritty. That's what you need to look at. You as a tester, don't forget the skill, the ability that we have in us. Then the next thing, let's talk about the business flow, the workflow, the end-to-end. How can I use this application? You have logged in www.bluesky.com, www.giftread.com, www.prepmajor.com. And what you want to know the flow, how that journey is, what the workflow from what point to the other, the end-to-end test. So how it's being used. So testing your end-to-end workflow and business scenario, which checks the user through a series of web pages to complete. So maybe when you log in first, the next expectation is, are you registered? No, then register. Are you a new guest? You register. Are you a returning guest? Yes, you sign in. So those things, and when you sign in, I can do this, I can do that. End-to-end flow is what we check when it comes to the functionality of this thing. Testing a negative scenario as well. So if I log in, if I know I'm a returning user, if I use a different password or a different username, I should get errors. It should not allow me to access the application. These are part of the checks that you have done, that you have to do. Every positive test has to have a negative scenario. Happy parts, you must also have that part that you need to validate to break that system. So these are kind of checks that we do. Then it takes us to the next one. So that's the end of functionality base. Those things that you are looking at, functionality, we have talked about the link, we've talked about using the web form, we talked about the accessibility in terms of HTML and CSS. So all those things are part of the functionality. Now, usability, usage. How do we use it? Usability has become a vital part of any web project. It can be carried out by testers, you and I, or a small focus group similar to the target audience. Who are the target audience? Who is going to use the website? Is it for teenagers? Is it for specific people? So they also can help to test the web app. But the first call to testing a web application is you and I as a tester. Sorry, mute please. Yeah, mute.
Can you mute, please?
Abdul Gafar, please.
Hello?
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 Yeah, we can hear
Hello?
you. We can hear
Oh,
you.
sorry. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, good. Thanks for letting me know quickly. So I think I stopped at the usability part of it, talking about that. So now I'm moving to how, the first part we did was the functionality. And I told you what things we are checking in the functionality. Now we are taking usability as another type of thing to check on a website. So what are the things you check in form of usability? Now, the first thing is the navigation. You test the site navigation. You said if I click on sign in, it moves me to sign in. From sign in, when I click submit, it takes me to the landing page. Just to see that I can navigate in between it. I can leave that page, I can go back, I can move forward, I can leave that session, come back. So just to check those menu buttons, check the links, check different things on the page, on the side. So those are the navigation that you are checking. So you are checking the menus, you're checking the buttons, you're checking the link to different pages, as I've explained initially. The next thing we need to do is the content. What are the content? The letters, things that are written, each of the words, they must be specific. There must not be error in terms of spelling errors, omissions. You need to be careful. Just look at it. Those are things, those are bugs that can be cut easily when it comes to website testing. Content should be legible with no spelling or grammatical errors. So if you can't, just try. Check the images. If present, should be checked. So if there's any image there, check it. Any color code, because some they might tell you that it should be blue, mixture of blue green. If you're seeing red there, then it's a bug. There shouldn't be red, because red might not be the kind of color that we want to portray for that website. So those are things that you need to check when it comes to usability. There are areas to be tested here. So we are talking also application web and database server. So those are the first one. The third one the first one is functionality. The second one is usability. The third one is interface testing. So what are the interface testing? Application web and database. So what are the application? You test requests are sent correctly to the database and the output. So let's give an example. If you are testing, if you input 24 and you run your query, my expectation is 24 should be what should give me at my output. I shouldn't input 24 and it gives me 42. It is wrong. So those checks need to be vital. I'm sure most of you might be wondering that, oh, is this possible? It's very possible. Sometimes when you're doing your backend testing manually, maybe using a tool, and you kind of do a verification and validation testing in your API tool, you might call the form and you will see maybe the first name is Yemi, as you can see there. But that's what you have put in from the web app. If you go to the back, it might not be Yemi. It might be another name there. There is not, it's, this, things are prone to error. And that's the essence. That's the reason why we need to check as testers. We need to catch those bugs early. Let's know it before it gets to the public. So we need to be in when we are testing, we need to be pragmatic and always be pay attention to little things, details, and make sure you follow the process when it comes to testing. Ensure you are looking at things diligently. Map it to the requirements. Check it when you're writing your script. Make sure all edge cases have been covered. Then you would know. If you are given any specific specification, ensure it is incorporated in it. If you are told my password should be 5 letters, let it be 5. Check it diligently. Because sometimes codes are hard-coded. You need to break them. You need to break them. I've seen severally that the code will be written to say, take only 4 letters. After 4 letters, don't do anything again. But my expectation, your expectation, likewise my expectation will be, after 4, any other thing should fail. I can tell you that after that 4 letters, if you put 10, it will still go correctly. If you put 20 letters, it will go correctly. When you put 3, it might end up stopping everything that is on the server. It's some things I've witnessed a lot. So we need to, that's the reason that you as a tester need to do negative testing. And that's where it's going to bring us to our test case part, the design, so that we can look at some techniques that we can use to achieve this. So the next one is web server. You test whether the server is handling all application requests without service denial. So check that, of course, is everything you put, if any link that you put on the web application is working as expected, is not denied. If there's any error, it should state the error correctly, well readable for users to understand. Database, make sure all queries sent to the database give expected results. So anything you send to the database, or your select queries, anything that you have done, it should give us the right result. So the next thing we'll test is just to ensure that these 3 things, the application, the web, and the database, they all, the connection between them, we should test them, because your request starts from here. It goes into the web and the backend validates it. So we should ensure that the right message is what we are getting when it comes to the interface. So interface is the thing that is in between. These things are the things in between us and the application that we are seeing in the front end. What we are seeing in the front end, these guys are all the people playing with that application before we see it in front. Then the next thing we talk about is database testing. I'm sure you've been hearing about SQL, SQL. That's where you do your database testing, validating each of the forms, each of the fields, how many characters, the format, what it entails. All these are type of database testing. And don't forget, all these are done manually. There are a lot of manual testing out there. It's kind of easy. Once you can write test case, you can express yourself, you can raise a bug. Honestly speaking, you are needed outside there. Database is one critical component of your web application, and stress must be led to test it thoroughly. Testing activity will include test if error are shown while executing queries. For example, if you're selecting using a wrong table, we want to be sure and certain that is telling us that it is a wrong table, specific error. You see that I'm using the word emphasizing specific error. Look, there are some times that errors are shown. It will tell you error, um, error, but it will not tell you the description of the error. I will tell you, always raise a bug for it that is not showing exact description of the error. Put it, even if it's put as a medium, have it raised. The reason is that you should be giving people a descriptive error. To describe the error, it's easier for people to know that I'm doing this mistake because of this. So, but if you just tell me error, nothing, I know it errored. I can see that is error, but I need someone to tell me why it errored. So those messages should be given, even at the minimal, to a correct description of it, because most of the time you get application that don't give error. I'm testing one currently like that I know is not giving error. This is one of the things that I won't use to sign up UAT, but to be honest, it depends on the business. If they want to sign it off, oh, we can pack it because we are not going live yet. When it's live, we'll fix it. Let's move on. So it depends, but I have raised it. I raised it. The users that came into raised the same bug. So when they've raised the same bug, oh, we know about it. It's been raised already. So you can see that it means that you have done your job. They know that, oh, they've done a thorough job again. So those are the things that it gives us a head to know this person knows his or her job. So anything that you see that is when you're testing web application, though you feel it's easy, but catch the necessary bugs. It shows you. Then data integrity is maintained while creating, updating, or deleting data in database. Data integrity. Ensure it is correct. I've put in this, it should give me the exact thing. I'm searching for this, it should be what I am searching for. If I'm searching at the customer table, it shouldn't go and bring me something from another table. So it should be as expected. Check the data, that every data that is coming is correct. Check the response time of the query, and you can change it sometimes when you're testing. In the requirement, you might say the expectation is within 15 minutes. Of course, when you're testing, you can't wait 15 minutes. How many test cases are you going to execute that day when you know you want to do several test cases? So before that, the job is being picked up 15 minutes. It takes a longer time. So you could change it to 2-3 minutes. Then when you're about to finish your test, you can come back and change it back. Tell them to change it back to 15 minutes, then you can do the exact test. So all these things you need to rationalize to ensure that you have done proper testing before time is. Test data retrieved from the database is shown accurately in the web application. Then now, compatibility testing. I've been talking about web application. So let's talk about the compatibility. What does it mean? When something is compatible. When something is compatible, I can use it at anywhere, any area that's compatible. This is where mobile testing lies. This is where every other testing, you can do compatibility testing, and there are various tools we're using it. Do it manually using tools. So here we talk about mobile testing. You'll be wondering, mobile testing, so is it only my phone? Your phone is not only the mobile device. Your laptop, your iPads, all these are part of mobile testing. So it's part of compatibility. Compatibility ensures that web application displays correctly across different devices. So when you mean different devices, we are talking about various browsers, talk about Safari, Chrome, Edge, IE, Firefox. All these are kind of browser-like compatibility testing. Talk about mobile. They are very, for now, we have the latest one, iPhone 14. Let's take iPhone, for example. We've got iPhone 13, 12, 11, 8, 6. So you want it to be compatible to every version, every variance of this application. That's the essence of compatibility testing. So if I open this text like this, it should be visible in this thing. It should be visible also like this in my mobile. It should be in version iPhone, iPhone 6. This text, I should be able to read it like this. iPhone 8, it should be the same way. iPhone 12, likewise, 13, 14. Talk about Samsung. So it should be, likewise, if I'm using Windows 11, I should be able to view it the same way. Currently, I'm using Windows 10. You can view it the same way. So these are kind of things we talk about when it comes to compatibility, mobile testing. All these are just ensuring that all the application works in all various browsers. I'm going to explain. I'm going to show you to you in some few minutes. So these are different operating systems, as I've said. So you check the buttons, you check the elements, you check the field, you check the test field. All the things are the things you check when it comes to you working on, when you're doing compatibility testing. So the rendering of web elements like buttons, text fields, changes with change in the operating system. Make sure your website works fine for various combination of operating system, such as Windows, Linux, Mac, and browsers such as Firefox, Internet Explorer, Edge, Safari, Chrome, etc. So those are the things that we talk about compatibility. Now we talk about performance. So performance also is things that you check also on the web application. Don't forget the topic we are still working on is still on the website. So the reason why I'm giving you various things is so that when I start showing you, I expect us to be so that you know that once I start looking at it, we start the workshop. It's just going to be you telling me, check this, check that. So it will be things that it will be an interactive class. So it will be easier for us to understand. And what I'm explaining now, I'll tell you the trick about it is that all websites, this is the same format you're going to use. Any website, first thing, look at the functionality quickly. Once they say check that's the first thing. The next thing, look at the usability. The next thing, look at the interface. The next thing, look at the security. The next thing, look at the performance. So those things, have it in your bag. And when you know functionality, what are the functionalities? I check the link, I check the form, I check the item. So those are the, I gave you, I had to break it down that way so that it's easier for us to catch it when you want to test it and you catch the ball quickly. So this will ensure your website works under all load. So at this time, performance testing, we're talking about load, stress, volume. That's what performance is about. So how do we know, check the performance? You can do this, like, because we do it manually. I get like people in the room, or that's every one of us, we all start and we get maybe like a two. Let's start together. Have you registered? Don't click submit. Wait, we click submit together. Of course, some milliseconds will be, and we can record things together. Different ways. You can use tools. You can do it manually just to ensure that you check the performance, how things are. And also, when people are using the application, you want to know if that application can take 10 people at a time. It doesn't crash. Good. You move then to 50 people, it doesn't. 100,000, million, billion. So that's the way it is tested. Web application response time at different connection speeds. Then you look at the load, your web application, to determine its behavior under normal and peak load. That's what I explained. Stress. Test your website to determine a breakpoint when pushed beyond normal load or time. Test if it's crash. If a crash occurs due to peak load, how does the site recover from such an event? This is just all about performance testing. Load, stress, volume. Make sure optimization technique like gzips, compression, browser, and server-side cache enabled to reduce load time. All these are just connections. And the last of it, security. So security, you want to check with F12. When you do F12, you can see a lot of things, some hidden data. Just check if you don't see credit card information. Like I could remember, there's a project I was working on, was it 2015? And what I found out is that when you use a credit card, when you do F12, I will tell you the PIN of the person, the name, I'll give you all the detail. So I was able to hack everyone that used that before we put that test out. And to be honest, that has been tested. It was just a third eye that we had, that was drafted in from another project to just do a third eye on it. And that was the last catch of it. If that has been done in that organization, I tell you, it's going to be a big loss. Business loss, business reputation, loss of money, loss of customers, clients. So you have to be careful when you want to do all this. You need to check the credit card details that I've checked on them. Test unauthorized access to the secure pages should not be permitted. Restricted files should not be downloadable without appropriate access. These are kind of security checks. Check sessions are automatically killed after prolonged use are inactive. So all these are the checks that you need to do when it comes to web and mobile testing. This is kind of the way web and mobile application works. Same format, same searches. Just what I always tell people and my students is that there are a lot of websites there, but there's nothing too new. So you definitely, it's still the same format. It's just be paying attention to details. Use these tricks that I've stated to you, should be your first point when you are given. So quickly, you take this trick to be able to, so quickly go for the functionality, go for the usability, go for the interface, go for the performance, go for the security, go for all those things quickly. Then it gives you an edge to know. So that takes us to the main part of this workshop. Switch on the light. And I'll just be working on the specification-based technique. I'm sure all our test case technique, we've gone through them, we have a clearer understanding of it and how things are done. We'll just shed some light on some of these, the majorly specification-based technique. That's what I'm going to be looking at this evening, and we'll be able to go further from there. So for specification-based technique, I'm sure you know it's two of them, structural-based, and this is also popularly known as black box design technique. In this design technique, the test cases are written by taking the client's functional requirements and specification into consideration. So I've been given a user story. Let's give an example. And in the user story, I've been told that the login will have 8 characters. It will have capital letter, special character, lowercase, all fonts has been stated there. So I also am going to test to ensure that those criteria are actually met when I'm doing my login. When the API part seems fine, then do different sites. Okay. Then the internal working of products are irrelevant. Therefore, the name black box is used in this case. So black box is now further divided into subtitles, 5 of them. So the first one is equivalent partitioning technique. Then the second one is BVA, boundary value analysis. Next one is decision table technique. This one is state transition technique, while the last one is use case testing technique. So let's take it one after the other. Equivalent partitioning technique. Equivalent, equal, equivalent partitioning technique. Equivalent class partitioning allows you to divide set of test conditions into a partition. So I'm partitioning it into different places, which should be considered the same partition. All that's what there. The software testing method divides the input domain of a program into classes of data from which test cases should be designed. So let's take example. Let's consider an application that validates password. That's what we want to consider now. The requirement of your password to be valid is it should contain a minimum of 8 characters. Should be alphanumeric. So alphanumeric is both alphabet and numbers. And contain at least 1 special character like @ exclamation dash, anyone, dollar, pounds. In this case, the inputs can be in different equivalent partitions, such as we've got valid inputs, meeting the special criteria, and invalid input, where one category contains 8 characters, all alphabets, Another input category contains 8 characters, all numeric, while another partition contains 8 characters containing only one special character, and so on. So we can do several ones. So I can say 8 characters. My full name is Olayemi, so it's 7 letters. And I put 1 character. So I can start with O as capital, and I put every other thing, Olayemi, and I put exclamation. That's 1. I can put Yemi, Y-E-M-I, 1, 2, 3, that's 7, and I put heart. That's another 1. It's a valid 1. Don't forget the requirement for the password to be valid. It must contain 8 characters. Should be alphanumeric and contain at least 1 special character. This place from here, the requirement for your password to be valid is that it should contain minimum of 8 characters. 2, it should be alphanumeric, both numbers. So if I put Olayemi, exclamation, does it meet my criteria? You need to know. So anything you want to use, you must have stated your test data. All these things that you see that I'm calling Olayemi 1, Yemi 1, 2, 3, 4, exclamation, Yemi this, password 1, all these are called test data because these are the data you want to use to test. So those are the things. So equivalent partitioning. So furthermore, I'm giving you an example. Let's put the input condition. So we want to test valid ones. We were taught to test between 1 to 10 and 20 to 30. So let's divide it, 5 equivalent classes. 1 to 10 and 20 to 30. Don't forget this and. 1 to 10 is 1 and 20 to 30. So the first one, 0, if you start from 1 to 20, equivalent, equal. It must be partition, equal. So 1 to, let's start from maybe -1, -2 to 0 is invalid because it has not started at all. It hasn't started. It hasn't even started with the first input. Let's say 1 to 10 or 1 to 9 is a valid input. 1 to 8 is valid. 1 to 10 is valid. And this is not part of it. And so from 11 to 19 is invalid because it's not part of the condition. It's not part of this condition here. Now we'll take the next one, 20 to 30, 20 to 25, 20 to 29 is valid case. Then from 31, in fact, from 31, 30.5, 30.01 is invalid. So here, values that you select that are invalid, that you're going to sell, are -2, 3, 15, 25. All these are things that you can use to test. These are your values that you can use to test. So we have taken it that these are the edge case that I'm going to use to test that. Okay, these are 5 scenarios. From that, I can test through that. So that takes us to the next one, which is boundary value analysis. Boundary value analysis is based on the test, on testing at boundaries within these boundaries between partitions. This include maximum, minimum, inside or outside. So in boundary, we are talking about maximum, minimum, inside, outside. Check everything around it. You must test it. That is boundary value analysis. In this case, we want to take another example. The values from the lower boundary and upper boundaries are considered. For example, an application accepts only 4 digits, 4-digit numeric values. Here, the range is from 1,000 to 999. We said it's 4 digits. That's the condition. Here, one case will contain input 999, valid, and 9998. Another case, 1,999. Another case, it will be 001 or more than 10,000. So everything around that edge case, you have to test it. Everything from zero, from minus to plus, maybe to more than the 4 digits. You have to test it because they are all boundaries. They are within the boundaries. So input condition that is valid, 1 to 10, boundary value analysis. If so, you see, let's take another example, just like the previous one, 1 to 10. So boundaries, we'll look at 0, -1, 0, 1, 2. That's an example. Once you test them, if those ones pass, then it means it's working. And 9, 10, 11, 12, if you test it again, that means if it passes, it means it's working as expected. The reason for this boundary value is not for small numbers like this. It's not because 1 to 10. Let's say you were told to test 1 billion, 1 trillion. What? You can't start testing 1 to 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't be testing them one after the other. So our expectation is using boundary value analysis. We want to test 1 million. An example, we'll take -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. That's fine. Run to the middle. 499, 500, 501, 502 is working as expected. Go to the very end. 998, 999, 1 million, 1,000,001, 1,000,002. If all these boundaries works, then 25, 150,000, all these things will work as expected. That's the essence of the boundary value analysis. So next one is decision table. So what's decision table? So a decision table is also known as the cause-effect table. This software testing technique table is used for functions which respond to combinations of inputs or events. For example, a submit button should be enabled if users has entered all required field. So let's take an example. You go on an application. You want to fill a form. You've not even seen, you've seen the submit button, but it's grayed out. The reason why it's grayed out is because you are just using the application for the website or the form. You're just filling it for the first time or even at any time. And you enter your first name. It's not enabled. It's until you fill in all the mandatory fields. then that button is enabled. And it's not going to be enabled until those mandatory fields you filled are correct. That's another caveat. It should be correct. So the first task is to identify the functionalities where the output depends on the combination of inputs. If there are large inputs set of combination, then divide them into smaller subsets, which will be helpful. So let's take, I have an example of a table here. So for every function, you need to create a table and list all types of combinations that you have in the inputs. That's the way you can use decision technique. So let's take an example. So this example is from a website. So I've got this rule 2-8. I just picked all the combination and I use F for false, T for true. So these are my inputs: name, email, message, the output. So these are my input. Then my submit, this is when my submit will be enabled. So in the web page that I used this, that I collected this, if you enter name false, the rule one, if you enter name as false, and you enter email as false, and you enter message as false, the submit button will not be enabled, so it's false. It will not come up. The rule 2, if I enter true name, maybe my name is Yemi Ayola, I put it there. My email, I put a wrong email and I put a wrong message. It will not come up. If I do row 3, my name is not correct. I put a correct email, Yemi at gmail.com. It's correct. Then I put a wrong message, it will still come. So when I'm going to have my button enabled will be when I have the correct name, because these fields here are mandatory fields. And I put a correct email and I put a correct message, then my submit button will be enabled. So that takes us to rule 8. Rule 8, my name is correct, Yemi Ayola. My email is yemi at bluesky.com. And my message is, Blue Sky, thank you for having me. And the submit button is enabled. Then I can submit my application. That's an example of decision table. So I'm just validating that all those fields is a form for me. So when I'm doing my test case and I put all this name, all this, I tell you that there's a combination. This first 7, happy part is always sweet because that's the first target of the code. Let it run, the happy part. Subsequently is the test that you as a tester do that will start giving them more insight onto how they handle their errors, onto what errors are coming out. So it's when you validate all this. So when you tell them, oh, I found the bug, I entered the right name, wrong email, message, and this is true. That is wrong because these are mandatory fields. That takes us to the second to the last one, which mainly the final one here. So state transition. State transition testing table. In this technique, the application is tested using graphical representation of different transitioning states of an application, which are further dependent on various features and functionalities of the application. It is primarily based on the state machine model. So let's take an example. In the example I'm going to show you, this example, if the user enters a valid password in any of the first 3 attempts, the user will be able to log in successfully. That is the happy part. If the user enters invalid password in the first and second trial, The user will be prompted to re-enter the password. When the user enters incorrectly the third time, the action as taken and the account will be blocked. That takes us to, let's see how this happens. So let's start from here. I've gotten to my ATM machine. And I start the first time, my first trial. Okay. First time I entered my PIN. 1, 2, 3, 4 is correct PIN. Correct PIN. I was granted an access. I was able to withdraw my money. Then the next thing, I start again. My first trial, I didn't get it right. Okay, I'll try the second time. The first one, I put 1, 2, 3, 3. Wrong PIN. Then I put the second trial, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, correct PIN. It granted me access. I was able to. Now I start again. My first trial, 1, 2, 3, 3. Wrong. The next, I did a second trial, 1, 2, 2, 3. Wrong. Now I did a third trial. Third time. I did a third trial. I got it 1, 2, 3. Then I did it that third time. I'll be granted an access. Now start that routine again. 1, 2. I did it on the third. I did the first one. 1, 2, 3, 3. Wrong PIN, incorrect PIN. The second time, 1, 2, 2, 3. Wrong PIN, incorrect PIN. The third time, 1, 1, 2, 2. Incorrect PIN. Now, final one. 1, 2, 4, 3. Access denied. My account will be blocked. So that is it. All about that. Now that takes me to where we need to actually use this script. So I am going to take a test case, but I'm forced because I've been told that you've been writing your script in Gherkin syntax, which is fantastic. For you to do it and for you to write it in that way, easy do, very good. Though it's easy, I know it might be kind of tricky, but I will make it more easier and some way for you to relate it when you are writing your script. So I'm going to use this script, but I would now want to go practical. Let's go to, I hope, let me share my screen again. Let my screen, please. Let me know if you can see my entire screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, fantastic. So let me take a case study of Blue Sky or Giftrate. So this is the website I'm using, Giftrate. So I'll use Giftrate, I'll use other one to see and be able to play around with. So at this phase, this website, we want to write a script about it. Let's take signing. Let's take this signing. This signing here as the script that we want to write. So the first thing that we want to write in the script, I've been navigating in between this script and my script. So here, what I did here was I said go to Gifttreat website, which is www.gifttreat.com. This is more of a traditional way, and you write your script so that you have an understanding of it. Then, what is my expectation? Let's go. When I type www.gifttreat.com, what did we see? We saw the Gifttreat website. So Gifttreat landing page is displayed. Fantastic. That's the website. Now, there are two ways I can sign in. I can either click on this create account to this pop-up page to tell me to create an account. If I navigate back to the page and click sign in, it takes me to the sign in page. Because I'm already registered. The first one, I am not registered. So it's two things. So here, I create account. So when I create an account, I'm meant to enter my email, first name, last name, telephone number, password, confirm, and I click on the register button. So at this phase, I want to click on sign in button. So I will go on sign in. I'll click on the sign in button and I'll put my email, my password. I hope it's right. So that's what I'm expecting to see. So I log out. So I'll put my email, which is my own email. So when I click on, I put this one and I enter my Gifttreat email and I enter the right password. Then, and I click on the sign in button, it should take me in. So at this phase, I've done this and I click on. And it should log me in. This is a traditional, this is the normal thing I'm expecting to see in this website. Now, before I further go to this place, we have been talking things. This is a website application. One after the other. Just once you say one, when I ask a question, when you tell me one word, please let next person pick up and tell me various components. Before you start saying the answer, I will just take the question. Now we are testing the website. This is a live website. From your expectation and from what we have said, from what I've gone through from the website, because everything I've taught this evening is what is incorporated in this live thing that you want to see. Now, the first thing I want you to think, everyone, there's a lot of things. There are a lot of things that we can test on this website. Tell me, first person, just change like that and let me know. I'll be looking at your names. I want to see who is going to give me. So what I want you to tell me now is, what are the things that I'm meant to check on this website? What are the things that I am meant to check on? If you're testing this website, what are the things? First person.
Search bar.
Search bar. Agreed, everyone? Tell me, next person, what the other things that we need to check? Just,
The
it's not compulsory.
side navigation panel.
Correct. Correct. So these ones, aside navigation panel, yeah. So what else? What else? I'm still expecting things from the things that we gathered right from the beginning. Remember when we were doing how to test a website? Those things that I was saying. Tell me, who else? Someone else?
User interface.
Yes, fantastic. So in this form, we are looking at all these things here. Tell me, what else again do you think I'm meant to look at on this place? Someone else?
Profile page.
Huh?
The profile page.
And fantastic.
PBS.
Huh?
PBS.
I didn't. Huh?
Oh, APS. Sorry, APS.
I didn't. No. That's not API. Application Programming Interface. That's mainly the backend, just checking using the API. But no, what I'm expecting from you, look at this page now, this page. What I want you to tell me, what are the things I'm meant to test on this page that you're seeing now? What are the things? Someone has said search. The other person told me to go to the sidebar. Someone said I should check this setting. Look at things. There are things that you've not told me here.
The header.
The header, fantastic.
About me.
Hey, those are the things about me. You are telling me about me. I click on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
settings.
Okay, now I got it.
So I think they need to link to what else?
A lot of things. Community.
What else?
Blog.
Yes, all correct. But all these buttons you've not talked about. Yeah, about me. Someone has said that.
Create
If
community.
you go further down, correct. If you go further down, so this one now, someone has put some soup there. I should be able to see the picture when I put it. So it's showing me a picture of the soup. So it should. So now, what is your expectation on this page? What do you think I should test on this page now? Tell me, what do you think I should test on this page?
We test the soup.
Test if the soup is sweet. If it has Maggi and salt.
I have to be honest.
That's the shaki.
Yeah, share it.
No, guys, that's good. I know. So tell me what I've tested the soup. So tell me exactly what are the other things to test here?
Yeah, item buttons.
Yes, item buttons.
Huh?
Share as item.
Facebook.
Share item, correct.
Correct.
Then all the correct. That's what yes. Yeah. All these things you should check with correct. So it should take me to all the Facebook. These are the link. We are testing websites now. So down check everything here. Then if I navigate back, so this is how to. So what you have done, from what you have, everything we've stated in our store, the link, the internal link, all those forms is from those pages. Everything I've said in theory is what is coming to light. So now, how do you now incorporate that given when then into it? You all have been able to write your script in given when then, which is a plus, honestly, to you. If you've written your test case, and you're here, and you know how to get a bug, to raise your bug to do it, honestly, put together your CV, start looking for manual testing job. It's not too late. Start looking for manual testing job. That's the reason I'm just trying to let you know that you've gotten the knowledge. is just for you to be able to use that knowledge that you have gotten to do what exactly, because of course, for you to tell me everything it's here is the same thing about what we have just done now. Let me go back to what we are doing now and make sure we are, I don't want to. So I'm just going to escape. So I'm just going to take you back so that you can see things the way they are. Look, we have talked about functionality testing of website. We've talked about the user interface, all these. So the first part of it was testing the web activities, the outgoing links, internal links. Those are the things you were pointing out to me. Testing the form, that's what you have seen. How I entered my password, my own, when you wanted to create a form. So this is you testing if you've got a cookies on the page, the normal one. You are testing end-to-end flow of that. So we can pick one and do that same format. I'm just trying to see for you to bring it to light that these things are coming. We talked about usability. Usability is the navigation. The way you see that I've been clicking, you've been telling me, touch this one, click on this, click on that, search, do. Those are the navigations. Content, check for spelling errors. We talked about the interface. That is the application that you're seeing. There's someone behind. There's someone behind that thing, bringing that interface. The interface is what we are saying now. What I am looking at now is what you're saying. Database testing, that's in the back end. You testing that thoroughly. You will be given your SQL Server to run the queries. Compatibility. Now let's go. So compatibility. This is I'm not too sure if you are on so what I'm going to do now is some of us are going to know if Daya is here to help us, because I will need some other to need people to share their screen immediately, then before we finish share the screen. So how we are going to do it now, I'm going to copy this, I'll put it in the chat. So if you have Chrome, I've done this on Edge. If you have Chrome, open this link on your Chrome. If you have Firefox, another person should do Firefox. If you've got Safari on your laptop, next person should open Safari, so that others, we can see how it is on various browsers. Furthermore, if you've got any other, maybe like Mac, you can open it there. So once you're ready, let me know anyone that you've opened. I've done this on Edge. If you've got Internet Explorer too, you can open it there. So this is what we call cross-browser testing. Now, that takes me to, for mobile testing, we have tools that we use. Take an example, BrowserStack. It's an easy go-to. You can use it to test. So if you go there, there are other emulators. They're just like emulators. It's just you seeing screen drawn there. The same www.giftreach that I've done there is what you're going to type there. There's no difference. But because it's just on my mobile app, so you can just use it. So if you need iPhone 6, you'll see iPhone 6 there. If it's 12, you just click on it and you type it inside the phone, and it will bring up the screen. So if you have any issues there, then you can say that in version XYZ, version iPhone 6, the text are not displaying properly, they are cut off. So those are examples that you can give when you're doing cross-browser testing. So if you've opened it, just let's know. The only thing it's not compulsory for you to register. Just open the page. just for people to see other browsers. Just check on your browser to see that, yes, you can access it. Then last of it all is, let's now bring to light the exact script that we have written. So let me bring it to light, the exact script that we have written. So I will take you back to, so now, so what I want to share with you is how to now write the given when then. So I'm sure.
Sorry, Yemi. Can I just stop the recording and do a new one, please? So that it's not too long.
Yeah, you can stop it.
Okay, thank you.